anticipated. I mean, it literally rolled out as anticipated. So I like how you mentioned those 11 voyages. Kind of, that's something not a lot of people know. So it's nice to kind of know that maybe in the back of your head if you are thinking about getting a Macy, a Basie, something along those lines. But yeah, I think it's really cool that they're making waves and they're making moves. And again, who knows? Maybe it is the groundworks for that big Microsoft Yuga buyout that I talked about a few days ago. But who knows? I love to see Yuga doing moves, man. I mean, obviously, I go back to something that Ferk said. I just thought about this and kind of like that status, and I mean, it's not a bad thing, right? It's not a bad thing to have that status to be able to make moves. But yeah, there's a lot of people in the space that think their shit don't stink because they hold a Basie. That's for fucking sure. And I'd run circles around those mutts. Let's just get that fact clear. So just because you own something that you minted at point oh 0.08 and went through the floor doesn't mean that you're a rock solid investor. It just means that you fucking decided to mint a picture of a monkey and it went through the fucking moon the first go round. So, yeah, definitely don't just blindly follow bases either. Like that's something I would also like, not throwing any shade at any bases by any means. Whatever. My founder is a basey, but there's just some people out here that would like to just utilize that to make you think they're the smartest person in the room. So definitely just something to think about. But I mean, they do have a leg to stand on in some circumstances. As going back to the very beginning of this little speech here, is that Yuga keeps killing it every single time they try to do something. They absolutely kill it, and nobody can really throw shade at them yet. So I'm interested to see if they just keep going issue free, or they finally have an issue somewhere, and then everybody loses their mind and rakes the floor. It's very interesting times to be alive in the space, like you said, G.
Yeah, definitely. And or BC has had multiple drops, like throughout the time. They went from 150 to like 79. There's been definitely massive drops for BC. It's not just localized to the smaller NFT projects. Even Macy went from, I'm pretty sure it was like 45 or something like that, to like 15 or something. So these are some massive drops. Just because you're holding a blue chip, like it doesn't mean it's necessarily like not going to have a 70 or 80% drop. It's happened before, and it happens with Bitcoin. Like it happens with the biggest blue chip in the crypto or NFT space, like Bitcoin. That has 70% drops, which is pretty damn crazy. Just to think about, like especially with the scale of money that's in now. In 2017 and 2018, there was a lot less money. Like it wasn't getting to the $1 trillion point, and the hundreds of billions of dollars. So like to see that much money flow out of the market and then flow back in and then back out, like it's pretty damn crazy, to say the least. But Cartoon, what were your thoughts on the cooperative game? Like 4,500 people playing the same voyage at once. I think I don't know. I think that's so crazy that 4,500 people can play the exact same game at the same time. Like obviously, like the same mission, so to speak. Sorry.
Yeah, I was just looking it up. I didn't even follow it. So I actually don't have many thoughts on that particular mission. But, you know, I think, what when I start to think about this game, and I actually don't know, you can correct me if I'm wrong. I don't know exactly what they intend on this game to be, but I'm just assuming it's a video game. So, you can stop me if it's not actually a video game. But the transition that they're doing now, they've done a bunch of airdrops in the past. Many projects have kind of copied them where they take the serum and turn it into a lazy drink or whatever they end up calling it. But the same sort of concept exists. So they're kind of pioneers, like you all have mentioned. But now they're taking that, in order to be successful here, they're taking that the whole all of these characters and creating a story, and people have to buy into that story, and they have to add on to this story gaming experience, so like a gameplay. And I think Swirl was talking about this on another, it might have been this space yesterday, where we play these video games. I mean, Swirl was talking about Elden Ring, But the gaming industry itself is very difficult to enter just because you're competing against consoles, you're competing against like top tier gaming platforms, which sure they have the money to get into, but um, unclear as to whether they're going to be able to kind of enter that uh, right off the bat transition, if you will, from pictures of monkeys to creating that narrative, selling that narrative, that story, and then moving it into a gaming experience that's actually going to garner any sort of adoption. They're going into adoption through, as far as I understand, you know, from the outside perspective, those who are non-holders, by exposing an SDK and basically like, waving a fishing rod saying, hey, you can maybe make some money if you bring in your NFT project or your artwork or you develop for us. But that doesn't necessarily going to mean that the game's going to be successful, nor does it mean that the game's going to have better quality. It could just flood it with more kind of trash. Um, and um, so I have some concerns about whether they're successful. But if they are successful in doing and then creating this narrative and people like the story that they create, because when I say story and narrative, I'm talking about you know creating if you will, like a novel. You have to like write some sort of experience around why are these monkeys living around the swamp? What's their history? It's almost like you're actually writing a story that you then have to portray in these video games, something that creates something that you'd be willing to follow. And if they're successful in that, I could see them doing movies, TV shows. Of course, there's going to be tons of ridicule if that happens, and they're just as polarizing as NFTs are. Some people are like, I can't believe this is a thing, and others are like, of course this is a thing. Um, but I think success could move into that into that path where they start to go into movies and TV shows and whatnot. And you may in the perfect world for them, you may see them on Netflix and stuff like that. But um, I didn't see that particular mission. I know they're going into this gaming space at the start through exclusivity, kind of similar to, when Gmail started, you had to have an invite from somebody else with Gmail in order to be able to use Gmail. Um, and they're doing that where you have to have a BASE or a MACI or whatever, or a land plot in order to know what's going on. But um, they still are going to need adoption when this game kind of kicks off, um, and a great experience. And I guess I'll say I'm not exactly sold. I wouldn't put money in it right now to say that they're going to be successful. That's my take, but I could be proven wrong.
Yeah, it's going to be interesting to see where it goes, to say the least. Like I do think out of Web3 games, they do have a hell of a shot just because they have a crazy amount of money behind them. But then we also have Microsoft acquiring Activision, and then there's surely other like big AAA gaming platforms and like factions that are gonna think about doing like a Web3 game or in some way, shape, or form. Like a lot of these companies will go where the money is, and I think where the most money is right now is in this space, and it's bringing a new form of revenue to these projects that isn't really anywhere else right now, or in my opinion, anyway. But just before we go to Swell, we got another giveaway that will be concluded at the end of this space as well. It's for an M1 serum, so shout out to everybody that is going to enter that. Man, what the hell? Man, it's already got 24 retweets and 24 likes. Like that was quick, less than a minute. Well, a bit over a minute. That's crazy. That's, man, wild stuff. That's going to be drawn before the end of
Grandalf.
the
Oh, sorry. Go for it. I just had a thought I wanted to. No, I'm interrupting your giveaway. Go for it. Sorry about that.
No stress, no stress. All good, man. All good. But yes, we are doing a giveaway. All we got to do is like, retweet, follow Grandalf, ferk, Swell1, and Cartoon iTunes. Tag a few friends. Winner will be drawn in the spaces. We might go a little bit longer today, but like we got a fair few giveaways going on right now. Wow, 32 retweets. Oh, man, it's going thick and fast. Like I said, we also have another one that started yesterday. Same deal. This one's from a Mac Mutant from the Grandpa Ape Country Club. All you gotta do is follow Mike's Realm, I'm Alpha, Ferk, Bonnie, and Grandolph. That's going to be in the space as well. And then we also got a pad giveaway. Man, all the NFTs getting given away today. I'm going to have none by the end of it. Well, definitely not. But man, like so many giveaways, so many people have already entered them. The pad giveaway is already 123 retweets. Pretty damn crazy. All you're going to do for that one is follow Captain Cole, Berkshire by and Grand Off Tree, and like and retweet. But man, so many giveaways. I think I might do one more. Or like, man, we'll see how I'm feeling. I'm feeling pretty damn generous right now because episode 50, this is massive. And just before we go to swell, we are at over 100 listeners right now. That's sort of why I decided to give away a bit more. We hit over 100. We at 100 again, guys. At 100. I'm not sure what it is going on right now because my notifications right now are pretty unreadable. But shout out to everybody that is like and retweeting everything. Swell, you had your hand up.
Yeah, I was just gonna tag on what Cartoon was talking about. I think he makes a lot of valid points. Anytime you're going through, I don't know, trying to get into a space as big as Activision, Nintendo, these big name companies who have been doing this for so long, they've forgotten more about the video game business than these guys could ever learn. And a lot of them have been pioneering this, and they've got just massive teams with just huge vast amounts of knowledge. And so, not to say that Yuga Labs couldn't assemble a world-class team, as I'm sure they have. It obviously shows it's very present and it's very good. Now, here's the wonderful thing about them is they have platforms currently that they can build that kind of database on, or that platform off of, if you will, that will actually build out like there's already a Fortnite, so they have an idea of how that works, and they can peel back the curtain and understand how the programming was done on it, so it makes it a little bit easier for that. But at the other point of that, I want to point out what Cartoon said about the lore. That's key. You have to have a solid lore, a solid story, a reason that makes people want to continually jump back in to experience that lore, right? It's got to be immersive. It's got to be something that pulls on, hate to say it, some human emotion here and there, whether that be fight or flight, or rescuing something, or discovering something. But it's got to continually bring a curiosity to the person trying to access it, or you won't go back to it and play it again. We talked about replayability the other day, and I'm just kind of expanding on that to a point. But Cartoon's correct. Like, you have to let them know why all of this is happening. Why is Dakota important? Why is the base he's running around through the swamp? Like, what is the whole point of it? And if they can hit that and really make it stick, there could be a lot more adoption. But to Cartoon's point, I really don't know how they're going to take on the Call of Duties of the world and the World of Warcrafts, where they just have literally so many different. I mean, just think about what Steam does and the community inside Steam. Those guys are literally playing all the games all the time. If you're in a Steam, you can play anything at any time. There's people that just have alerts waiting on the game, so when they go on sale, they just pick it up or whatever. So that's the kind of interaction they're going to need to recreate in order to really get mass adoption on something like this, because 200,000 people playing it is, I know it sounds crazy, but they'd all have to be playing all the time to make that really have huge adoption. Because take a look at what Modern Warfare does. It's insane how many people play that per day. It's like 4.7 million or something. It's insane. So anyway, that's all I got. Sorry.
Yeah, and I wanted to expand on that, Swirl. This is the question that I ask myself when I'm trying to come up with this. The answer to this is can they build lasting adoption? Can they essentially In the crypto space right now, I hear about gaming, and it's in the NFTs as well. I mean, we do this with giveaways, but I hear about, you do something because you can get something in return. You can get this NFT in return. We talked about this, mission where after 4,500 people or however went in, and in the end, maybe they got an NFT or something. Can Instead of building this one-off kind of not lasting engagement, it's that you get the NFT, you get those 2,000 NFTs and it's over. Can they build something that people want to play that is actually going to last? It's going to build not just like initial engagement where we're going to be in these spaces talking about, oh my God, did you guys see the numbers on other side? They just launched and there's 4 million people using it. Obviously that would be kind of crazy, but if the next day there's 2,000 people, was the 4 million impressive at all? Did they get all of the NFTs and now it's done and there's never going to be lasting engagement? And I think that's, you can't have a game that people don't use on the regular. You can't have a successful game, and that's where I think they're going to have a little bit of trouble. Sure, they're going to have the news behind them, they're going to have the media, they're going to have all of the Basie and Macy holders, talking about it, and there's going to be rewards in the beginning. But can you build a gaming experience that is not just based on giving people back free things in order to make it popular?
That is a very fair point, and Swirl brought up narrative as well. And narrative is so important with all these games, and it's interesting, like whether we like, because obviously Call of Duty is a game, obviously so is Minecraft, whereas like the other side has the potential to be I guess a social meeting place, like and a community type deal thing, as opposed to maybe it will be a place that you do just go to hang out. So it could be a little bit different to I don't know, a traditional game. Obviously, people hang out and play like Call of Duty together and stuff like that. Whereas I think the social aspect may be the thing that tips Basie or the other side into some sort of real world adoption. And it might not necessarily be the financial incentive. It might just be the place to be. But like, if everybody's there, then like fear of missing out, people will join just because well, what happens if it becomes the new social meeting place, and instead of going on Facebook, we hop into the other side and we go hang out with all of our friends, because I don't know, it could be the online platform that we all flock to, because a lot of people are off of Facebook right now, to say the least. We had two hands come up. We had Ferk and Swirl both at the same time, so we'll go to Ferk. Ferk, you had some thoughts?
Yeah, so listening to this brings a question to my mind, and I'm curious to see what your opinion is on this, Grandalf, and also maybe we can throw it around the room. But what is the difference between the metaverse and just a video game? Because I look at things like GTA, and we kind of talked about it the other day, but GTA is a video game, but there is still that social aspect to it with chats and voice chats, and you can socialize and meet up in one area and do missions together. Like all of that interaction is still there, but it's a video game. So I know that the metaverse definitely has a virtual reality side to it, where maybe there's some equipment involved, or it's a little bit more immersive. But I definitely think the social side, at least, is still in video games now. So, what would you say are some of the biggest differences between a metaverse and a video game, or do you think they're possibly kind of the same thing, maybe just different versions of each other, or how do you look at that?
Well, I think for a metaverse game, metaverse, like the community aspect, like you have to go in there, in my opinion, for a successful metaverse game. It has to be you have to be going for the community first, and then sometimes you play games. I definitely think that that's a bit more important. like because obviously GTA, Call of Duty, you can go into a lobby, you can talk to each other, you can play with each other and stuff like that. But you're there with the basic sole intention of playing the game and doing whatever missions, etc. Whereas I think in the successful game, we're going to go into this space, hang out, and then maybe we'll play some games. But largely, it's going to be like how we go on Discord and Twitter. Like I think that's probably going to be the thing. We're going to go there to hang out. So I can see, go talk to Cabin, go talk to Swell, go talk to Ferk, and like in an actual place. And I definitely think that's going to be way more immersive and you're going to hook into it a lot more long term, I think, as opposed to like everybody's just going in to do whatever mission is going on the other side right now. Obviously, there will be people that just go to play it and go play with their friends and stuff like that. But I do think it's going to be much more on the social aspect as opposed to just another game. So I feel like it's a little bit different to a game. If the sole intention is not necessarily playing a game. But Swell, you had your hand up for some thoughts.
Yeah, so to not go completely the other way with what you're saying on that, I think a lot of people do go to Call of Duty and to GTA for the community first because these games are repetitious. But there's like for me on Tuesday nights, my brother who lives in Seattle, his friend that lives in New Jersey, and his other friend that lives in New Mexico all get together for Taco Tuesday and we all play Call of Duty, right? Now, that's the community. We don't really care what mission we play or whatever. We get on that and that's a way for us to kind of connect, right? So that's that community aspect starts before the game. It's more important that we're all talking than us playing the game. It doesn't really matter if we win or lose. It's just connection time. Secondly, and this is something I've really been paying attention to lately because that question that Ferk has is really my question. And it's been my question for a while now. Because if you look at games like Minecraft and they have, you know, first you get in there because you're interested in the game, you don't know nothing about it. Then as you start to learn, you realize there's more people in the world. There's different, places you can go, and then you find a bunch of people you like to play with, and that becomes your tribe, community, whatever, depending on which game. So speaking of which, I played Ark for hours. I have 271 game days, real life hours days invested in that game. I stopped playing it because it was just way too much. But in that, I made a lot of great friendships, community, right? That one of those friends to this very day that I still talk to and you guys know is Outrageous, right? I met Outrageous through Ark sitting inside a virtual world, right? So to Ferk's point, what's the difference? I wasn't trying to do a mission. I was probably out foraging for who knows what or running from some dinosaur. And there was a guy standing there and I happened to run past him. And it was this guy named Outrageous in a virtual world in some kind of avatar. And somehow we connected and then we became a community. And then from there, we played Ark for years until things quit. Now he's in the grandpa's now and we're doing the same thing. So that's a great question that Ferk has. I don't know how you blend or identify or say, hey, this is metaverse or that's not metaverse. Because if you're in a virtual-esque world creating community and relationships, is that the metaverse already? Are we already kind of doing that? We just didn't connect it to the blockchain. Is that what we're trying to say? Or what? But I would say, and my last point, GTA. There are paid servers